What if the greatest kingdom in the world was already falling apart before anyone even realized it? In this episode of Game of Thrones, secrets begin spreading like wildfire. Jon Snow learns the brutal truth about the Night's Watch. Daenerys starts transforming from a frightened girl into a future queen, and Ned Stark discovers that King's Landing is far more dangerous than the battlefield. And while the nobles play their political games, beyond the wall, something ancient is waking up. This is the full recap of Game of Thrones, Season 1, Episode 3, Lord Snow. The capital of Westeros is loud, crowded, dirty, and completely different from the cold honor of Winterfell. Ned Stark quickly realizes that King's Landing is not a place where honesty survives for long. When Ned Stark enters Throne's room, Jaime Lannister sits in front of Iron Thrones. Jaime begins talking about the Mad King whom he killed during Robert's rebellion. Because Jaime murdered the king he was sworn to protect, people across Westeros secretly call him the Kingslayer. Ned clearly judges him for it. After that, Ned Stark officially begins his duties as Hand of the King. But instead of receiving support, he immediately finds chaos. The small council is filled with powerful men who all have their own agendas. First, there is Peter Baelish, also known as Littlefinger. Littlefinger is charming, sarcastic, intelligent, and extremely dangerous. He controls brothels and understands secrets better than anyone in the city. Then there is Varys, the mysterious eunuch known as the Master of Whisperers. Varys has spies everywhere. He claims he serves the realm above all else, but nobody truly knows where his loyalties lie. Renly Baratheon, the king's younger brother, also sits on the council, though he seems less interested in politics than the others. Finally, there is Grand Maester Pycelle, an old advisor who appears loyal to the crown. Ned quickly realizes that these men are not honorable warriors like those in the North. They survive through manipulation, secrets, and deception. During the council meeting, Ned learns shocking information. The crown is massively in debt. King Robert spends money carelessly on tournaments, feasts, hunting, and luxuries while ignoring the kingdom's financial problems. Most of the money is owed to the Lannisters. This means the royal family is deeply dependent on Tywin Lannister's wealth, and dependency creates weakness. Joffrey is still angry and humiliated. Cersei speaks to Joffrey privately, trying to comfort him while also feeding his pride. Instead of teaching him responsibility or humility, she encourages his sense of superiority. She reminds him that one day he will become king and tells him that people must fear him. Joffrey complains bitterly about Arya and the Starks, acting spoiled and arrogant. He wants respect and obedience from everyone around him, even though he has done nothing to earn it. During the conversation, Cersei also talks about power and family loyalty. She teaches Joffrey that the world is divided between the strong and the weak, a belief that shapes much of his future behavior. Arya Stark is still furious after the incident involving Prince Joffrey and her friend Micah. Ned listens carefully and understands her pain, but he also tries to calm her anger. He knows King's Landing is dangerous, especially when royal family members are involved. In Winterfell, Bran Stark lies unconscious in bed while Old Nan sits beside him, telling stories from the past. Old Nan begins telling one of her frightening stories about the Long Night, the ancient winter that covered the world in darkness thousands of years earlier. Back at the inn near King's Landing, Catelyn Stark secretly arrives in the capital. She is trying to avoid being seen because she suspects the Lannisters attempted to murder Bran. But Littlefinger discovers her presence immediately. He brings her to a hidden brothel where she reunites with Ned. There, Catelyn reveals something shocking. The dagger used by the assassin who attacked Bran once belonged to Tyrion Lannister. This information comes from Littlefinger. Ned is stunned. Tyrion had traveled with Jon Snow and seemed intelligent but harmless. Could Tyrion truly have ordered Bran's murder? Littlefinger manipulates the situation carefully, planting suspicion against the Lannisters. This moment becomes one of the most important political turning points in the series because it pushes the Starks further toward conflict with House Lannister. And Littlefinger knows exactly what he's doing. Chaos benefits him. Inside the Red Keep, we see Queen Cersei speaking with her twin brother Jaime Lannister. Their conversation immediately reveals something terrifying. They are worried about Bran Stark. Because Bran survived his fall, Jaime fears Bran may remember seeing them together in the tower at Winterfell. If Bran wakes up and tells anyone the truth, their secret relationship could destroy the entire kingdom. Cersei tries to stay calm, but Jaime knows the danger is real. This scene reminds viewers that the attempted murder of Bran was not an accident. It was done to protect a secret, powerful enough to start a war. And this secret will soon shake all of Westeros. Far to the north, Jon Snow reaches Castle Black, and there he meets Ser Alliser Thorne, the harsh master-at-arms responsible for training the recruits. Thorne humiliates the new boys brutally during training. Jon, however, quickly proves himself to be far more skilled than the others because he was trained at Winterfell by Roderick Castle. He easily defeats multiple recruits, but instead of earning friendship, Jon's talent creates resentment. The other boys see him as an arrogant rich boy who looks down on them. One recruit in particular, Grin, becomes furious after Jon embarrasses him during sparring practice. Later, Tyrion gives Jon important advice. He tells Jon that the other boys hate him because he grew up in a castle while they grew up starving and suffering. Jon finally understands that he has been blind to his own privilege. Even as a bastard, he still lived a far better life than most people in Westeros. This becomes a major turning point in Jon's character development. As the Dothraki journey continues, Daenerys becomes more respected among the Khalasar. But Viserys cannot handle losing control over her. He becomes jealous and angry, seeing her confidence grow. At one point, he tries ordering Daenerys around aggressively like before. But Daenerys no longer fears him. She calmly stands up to him. Even the Dothraki warriors begin laughing at Viserys. Meanwhile, Daenerys slowly begins understanding what leadership actually means. Unlike Viserys, she earns respect instead of demanding it. Before leaving the Wall, Tyrion shares one final conversation with Jon Snow. Tyrion understands Jon better than most people because both of them live as outsiders. Their friendship begins here, and it will become one of the most meaningful relationships in Game of Thrones. One of the most beloved scenes in the episode involves Arya Stark. Ned knows Arya has no interest in becoming a proper noble lady. She hates sewing, dresses, and court manners. Instead, she wants to fight. So Ned secretly hires Syrio Farrell, a legendary swordsman from Braavos, to train her. Syrio is unlike any fighter Arya has ever seen. Instead of heavy armor and brute strength, he teaches speed, balance, and awareness. Syrio's training is not only about sword fighting. It is about survival, observation, thinking quickly, staying calm. These lessons will shape Arya forever.
Make sure to subscribe the channel so you can watch more videos like this.